First of all, thank y'all so much for helping me out. Really do appreciate it. Release them results. All going to go down. All right.
Hi, folks, and welcome to the Old Style Saloon number 10. In a few moments, we'll step back in time to witness what happened on that fateful day, August 2nd, 1876, when Wild Bill Hickok was gunned down by crooked-nosed Jack McCall. The employees of the number 10 will set the scene for you, so sit back, hang on to your sarsaparilla, and we'll start from the beginning. It was during the latter part of August 1875. Frank Bryant and a party of 7 gazed down into a gulch of tangled, broken trees, which from then on was to be known as Deadwood Gulch. They made their way to the bottom and began to pan for gold. Soon the cry of gold echoed up and down the canyon walls. They hastily built a crude cabin east of their find, but nevertheless went on to prospect throughout the northern hills, only to return on November 8, 1875, to post a claim of their discovery. On the very next day, November 9, 1875, a second group filed a claim just short of 3 miles up the creek. This outlined a stretch that was destined to become known as the richest placer claim area, not only in North America, but the entire Western Hemisphere. News of this bonanza leaked out. The rush was on, resulting in a flood of mankind from all directions. The army could no longer stop the invasion of the fortune hunters.
All right, guys, don't worry. Your list is not nearly that long.
By August 2nd of 1876, Deadwood Gulch, now known as Deadwood City, and often referred to as Sin City, had acquired a worldwide reputation as a booming metropolis. Its surrounding hills and creeks were loaded with gold. Even greenhorns were said to be able to find nuggets, well, as they put it, bigger than horse turkeys. Its streets were lined with substantial businesses, offering everything from an opera house to dance halls, saloons and banks, stores of every sort, but mainly saloons and gambling dens. Deadwood Gulch was jam-packed with every variety of mankind, good and bad.
You own this place!
Wild Bill Hickok,
Yeah, that's a nice place you got here. Thanks for
Wyatt
the game.
Calamity Jane, Colorado Charlie Utter, California Joe, and Preacher Smith. Somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000 of them. They came with greed or lust and high ideas, but the frenzied excitement that Deadwood provided well satisfied their pioneer spirits. Two guys who not all a man couldn't picture themselves seeking their fortune as prospectors, and instead built a house on their placer claim, number 10, which became known as Saloon number 10. On the morning of August 2nd, 1876, Harry Young was tending bar in the number 10. His hair was greased, as was customary for bartenders. This was essential as part of a method used by bartenders to collect a little extra loot for themselves. Before reaching into a prospector's cloak for a pinch of gold to collect for given whiskey, the bartender would rub his fingers through his greasy hair, thus oiling them well. He would deposit the unoiled gold dust into the boss's tape, and by again rubbing his fingers through his hair, redeposit the oily flakes where it could be washed out later. It's said that there was a bald-headed barkeep who was known to have half a dozen hair pieces, all well oiled. His take was enormous, as the laundering process was more efficient. The dance hall girls had arrived on Colorado Charlie Utter's wagon train in late June, ready and willing to entertain the thousands of eligible prospectors. Some came with hopes of finding the right man. Others came simply to make their own fortune. Their attire, somewhat more revealing than what was thought to be proper, was looked down upon by those trained in ladylike etiquette, but nonetheless, they brought to the gold rush an air of reckless, dazzling excitement. By August 2nd, 1876, they were well established up and down Deadwood City's main street, working around the clock in one fashion or the other. Honky-tonk piano and their songs of promising spirit filled the air. Many an unlucky prospector could find hope for tomorrow, for he knew what the night would bring. About 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Bill, get in here! Come on! Get in here! Tell you what, deal me up here in a second. I can drink Perrier.
Captain Massey, a riverboat captain from Missouri, were engaged in a game of draw poker and were quick to invite Bill to join them.
Is that the good stuff? Oh, I know.
Wild Bill's reputation demanded that he be exceedingly cautious. For instance, he never liked to sit with his back to the door.
That's
The
tough
vacant
though, right
seat
there.
was so located, and a light in the debate between
Charlie!
and Bill resulted in an attempt
What are you
on
doing in my
Bill's
chair?
part to get
My chair,
Charlie's
Bill.
I don't think so, Charlie. You know I sit there. Get out.
Not a chance.
What do you mean out of the chair?
This is
Get
my
out.
chair.
No, get out of my chair,
This is
Charlie.
my chair,
And
Bill.
grudgingly, with great hesitation, took the empty chair. But after a few minutes, he stood up and again asked Charlie for his chair.
Dang it, Charlie. I can't sit here. You know it. Now get out of that chair
My
now.
butt's already
Bill
warm
didn't win
this
this
chair.
argument either.
It's
On
not
this
getting hot.
rare occasion, he settled down, sitting with his
Fine, I'll
back to
take
the
that
door.
pittance of money you got there.
Wariness, though,
Get
kept
out.
Bill alert, for
Charlie.
all knew him to be a left-handed drinker, leaving his right hand free to handle his pistol. As unpredictable as card games are, Bill found himself quickly losing to Massey, who had lost to Bill the night before. Bill asked Harry for $15 worth of pocket checks. Harry brought them over to Bill and returned to the bar and his duties. Soon, a shifty drifter known as Jack McCall entered the saloon. Bill quickly turned while drawing his gun. Recognizing McCall as a newcomer to town, he greeted him with a friendly,
Howdy, Jack.
then reholstered his
He was
gun
in here last
and
night
resumed the
playing cards.
game.
I can't believe he came back
Jack
today.
slowly circled the table, pausing briefly behind each player and analyzing each spending.
Hey! What are you looking at? Get out of here, kid. I didn't even let him in here today, Carl.
While Bill's attention was on
Yeah, he
Massey,
lost two
there was a
kids in
final
here last
round,
night.
and while Bill remarked,
Give me a shot at this.
No, I had 3 cards.
upon returning directly behind Wild Bill, suddenly Jack McCall, the bullet struck Bill in the back of the head, cutting out his left cheek, and lodged in Captain Massey's left arm. It was discovered the dead man's hand. All fled the saloon except Carl Mann, who was held at bay by McCall. Jack snapped the trigger of his gun several times. It failed to fire. He then ran out the door and up the street. He was found hiding in a building behind a butcher shop. Later on in the day, he was tried in a miner's court. The jury, being handed by a deceitful defense, found McCall not guilty, and he was released. This decision not only outraged the judge, but also the general populace. McCall left the camp in haste. Upon reaching supposed safety in Wyoming, he began bragging of his ignoble deed. Word of this reached the U.S. Marshal, who tracked McCall down, arrested him, and sent him to Yankton to be tried again in Dakota Territory. It was determined, since the first trial was held in Indian Territory, that it was not legal. McCall was found guilty and hung for his cowardly crime. He was buried in an unmarked grave on the edge of town. Later, as the town grew, the cemetery was moved. As the coffins were opened, one corpse was found with a rope around its neck. It was easily identified as Jack McCall, the assassin of Wild Bill. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking your time to arrive.
Get us here for